A senator was booed after discussing basic biology during a commencement address. Students select a surprising superlative for a transgender swimmer, and a school backs down after being caught excluding students on the basis of skin color. I'm Wyatt Eichholz, and this is Campus Countdown. It's commencement season, and that means it's time for this week's number 3 story. Students boo commencement speaker who said that there are only 2 sexes, male and female. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis gave the commencement address for about 2,000 students of the University of Wyoming's graduating class of 2022. Even fundamental scientific truths, Lummis said, such as the existence of 2 sexes, male and female, are subject to challenge these days. In response to the comment, the crowd booed and jeered the speaker. Lummis went on to add that she was not making a comment about the fact that there are people who transition between sexes, but later apologized for the remark, saying it was, quote, never my intention to make anyone feel unwelcomed or disrespected. However, she did continue to affirm, quote, the fundamental belief that men and women are equal, but also acknowledge that there are biological differences and circumstances in which these differences need to be acknowledged. For his part, the University of Wyoming's president said in a statement that while the school respects the right of all to express their views, UW is an institution that supports and celebrates its diverse communities. The controversy overshadowed the original intent of the senator's address, a warning that our freedoms are under assault. Quote, you woke up this morning in more individual freedom in the most creative, divinely inspired nation on earth, Lummis said. These transformations and disruptions I have alluded to are testing the very freedoms beyond watch. Now, for our second story, we go to Campus Reform's Arkansas correspondent, Stevie Gibbs.
University of Pennsylvania's senior class recently awarded Leah Thomas with the most likely to shatter the glass ceiling senior superlative. However, all students did not agree to deserve the accolade. Leah Thomas, being a transgender female swimmer, did, quote-unquote, shatter swimming records. One University of Pennsylvania student anonymously told Campus Reform, quote, it is just extremely disheartening that a man who dominated a women's sport is being awarded for his courage and strength, end quote. Other students expressed their frustration by explaining the differences between male and female athletes. One student claimed that Leah's eligibility to compete was, quote, taking a shot at women who have overcome actual challenges. There are women on this campus who face challenges men do not face, end quote. Students are not the only people frustrated by the phenomenon. Kimberly Lanning, the mother of Erica, a female swimmer who has competed most of her life and recently against Leah Thomas. Kimberly told the Liberty Jacket that competitive swimming easily becomes an athlete's life, and that requires total commitment. As a result, Kimberly was dismayed when she learned her daughter was competing against a biological male. She says her frustration stems from the NCAA as a whole. Kimberly claimed that for someone who did not even place in male swimming to turn around and place first in female swimming is an unfair advantage. Clearly, many people and not just student athletes are concerned about men competing in women's sports.
Thank you, Stevie. For this week's story number 1, we turn to the University of South Carolina. Earlier this month, Campus Reform exclusively reported that the 3-day More Business Success Academy workshop hosted by the University of South Carolina specifically refused to accept applications from white students. Following Campus Reform's initial report, the application has been changed and is now open to students of all ethnicities. Still, the description appears to show preference to non-white students. The web form now reads, quote, applicants who are in support of the advancement of business students from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds are strongly encouraged to apply. The application originally specified that an applicant must, quote, identify as African American or Black, Hispanic, Latinx, American Indian or Alaskan Native, Asian, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, or 2 or more races. As part of the program, participants were eligible to receive up to a $5,000 per year scholarship. Now, before these application requirements were changed, a University of Michigan Flint professor filed a Title VI complaint over them. At that point, the application's web link was deactivated. Mark Perry, who filed the complaint, said it raises questions about the university's enforcement of federal civil rights law. Perry told Campus Reform, quote, "This is yet another example of how illegal discrimination in violation of Title VI and Title IX is so widespread and common in higher education, and that universities are either unaware that they are violating federal civil rights laws, or they are unconcerned about illegal discrimination when it advances some goal of social or racial justice." No episode of Campus Reform Campus Countdown would be complete without the woke tweet of the week. This week, our woke tweet comes from the sunny state of Florida, where a group of left-wing college students are wanting to take over community policing. The tweet reads, "Join us, Tally SDS, FAM USDS, FSU GAU, Tallahassee DSA, FRSO Tally, FAPPA, Coalition Trans, and more in fighting for a people's budget. Come speak out against the current city's budget and support our struggle to reduce police funding. Hashtag People's Budget Now, hashtag CPAC Now, hashtag Tallahassee." Leftist student organizations at Florida universities are actively pushing for a so-called people's budget that would give power to activists in the community and defund police and law enforcement. The plan would create a civilian police accountability council, which would give them control over policing budgets and law enforcement activity. The council would have the responsibility to investigate allegations of misconduct, along with penalizing officers who were found guilty. They would also have the authority to regulate police departments' policies, procedures, and standards. Students from the Florida State University and Florida A&M chapters of Students for Democratic Society supported the plan, which was developed by the Tallahassee Community Action Committee. The budget also covers a slew of progressive wish list items, including free healthcare, free public services, and continued COVID-19 precautions in university classrooms. I, for one, would feel less safe knowing that the same people who think speech is violence and that the 2020 riots were fiery but mostly peaceful now want to take control of the police department. That about wraps it up for this week's edition of Campus Countdown. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. To stay up to date on more leftist bias on campus, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Campus Reform. I'm Wyatt Eichholz. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to check in next week for Campus Countdown.